Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to Kini News. Today, Defence Minister Ismail Sabri Yaakob said that flight prices need to return to their original price as they were before the movement control order was enforced.
Airlines should reduce ticket prices back to the pre-movement control order level following the government's decision to allow planes to fly with full capacity, said Defence Minister Ismail Sabri Yaakob. He said this decision was taken during the special ministerial meeting as they were aware of the high domestic ticket prices between Peninsular Malaysia and Sabah and Sarawak.
Kita akhirnya telah membenarkan syarikat penerbangan mengambil kapasiti penuh penumpang. Tidak ada penjarakan sosial lagi di dalam pesawat. Jadi, oleh itu, mesyuarat berpendapat bahawa harga tiket perlu kembali ke harga asal sebelum PKP dilaksanakan.
He stressed that reduced passenger capacity shouldn't be an excuse for the flight companies anymore to increase ticket prices. Ismail said the government also asked for special prices to be given to school and university students as well as teachers. He said the Transport Ministry would engage in discussion with airlines to find a solution to this matter.
A trade association has raised concern over Top Glove's A rating for labour practices as well as the type of audit that was used for the rating.
Malaysian glove manufacturer Top Glove cannot cite the good rating it had obtained as proof that it meets international standards of labour practices, according to Global Ethical Trade Association (ANFORI). ANFORI, which works with firms worldwide to ensure ethical and sustainable trade, said it also has concerns over the A rating Top Glove received after a supply chain audit at one of its factories. As such, ANFORI declared that it cannot support Top Glove's claim that the rating meant the glove maker met international labour standards. ANFORI was responding to inquiries by the Business and Human Rights Centre following a UK Channel 4 expose last month on alleged labour exploitation at Top Glove factories. ANFORI's response to BHRSC was cited by Malaysia Kini. Following the expose, Top Glove cited the A rating it received in a social audit by ANFORI BSCI as proof it does not exploit its workers. UK's Channel 4 reported that Top Glove staffs were working up to 111 hours a week to meet global demand for PPE, had illegal deductions to their salary, and were housed in cramped hostels without room for social distancing. The report also cited workers expressing fear of infection given their cramped living conditions, which was consistent with an earlier report by Malaysia Kini. Responding to the Channel 4 expose, Top Glove denied making unsanctioned salary deductions or forcing workers to work 104 hours a week in accordance with Malaysian law. On June 11, Top Glove recorded its best ever quarterly net profit at 347.9 million ringgit, 4 times more than the same quarter last year. The firm said sales went up 180% due to the surge in demand for rubber gloves in the face of the COVID-19 pandemic.
UMNO veteran Tunku Rosli Hamzah said UMNO should be in a dominant position after the next general elections or there could be political instability.
UMNO advisor Tunku Rosli Hamzah said problems would arise if UMNO continued their cooperation with Bersatu in the next general election. In an interview with Channel News Asia, he said Bersatu should not come into the picture as UMNO members feel it should be just Muafakat Nasional along with traditional partners of Barisan Nasional, which are MCA and MIC. By bringing in Bersatu, he said Malaysia may face an election outcome that would put the country in a hung situation with nobody in a dominant position and a clear majority. Asked if he believed UMNO would continue to support Muhyiddin Yassin as the Prime Minister after the next general election, the 83-year-old politician disagreed. Tunku Rosli believes that UMNO's chances in the next election are bright but was unable to name a possible candidate for Prime Minister. The Gua Musang MP said UMNO and BN must present a fresh face for the Prime Ministerial candidate, one with integrity and not tainted. Yesterday, Co-Secretary of the Muafakat Nasional Secretariat, Anwar Musa, was reported to have said that UMNO and PAS had agreed to support Muhyiddin as the Prime Ministerial candidate for the GE15. There are question marks over whether PN, formed on an ad hoc basis in March, would survive until the next election, which must be held by 2023. The day before, a meeting of Pakatan national leaders reiterated their support for Muhyiddin, but did not mention efforts to formalize the coalition.
Pakatan Harapan has still failed to arrive at a consensus on their candidate for Prime Minister, with yet another meeting scheduled to discuss the matter.
Pakatan Harapan plans to hold its Presidential Council next week to discuss and decide on the Prime Minister candidate for the opposition coalition. This came after Amanah and DAP concluded that the proposal to make Warisan President Shafie Apdal as the Prime Minister for PH Plus should be jointly decided at the coalition level. DAP urged the Presidential Council to meet ahead of the next Dewan Rakyat sitting, which is scheduled to commence on July 13. Harapan and its allies, which lost Putrajaya following a political coup led by Bersatu President Muhyiddin Yassin, had planned to return to power via a counter-coup. However, they failed to arrive at a consensus on the candidate for Prime Minister. Last week, Mahathir revealed a proposal to name Shafie as the next Prime Minister, should Harapan take over the federal government, while Anwar and Mukris would both be Deputy Prime Minister. A PKR source said his party did not accept the latest proposal to name Shafie as the Prime Minister. Another PKR source concurred and said his party is not going to call for another Central Leadership Council meeting in the near future. The source also dismissed any urgency to decide on the Prime Minister candidate ahead of the coming Dewan Rakyat sitting.
Malaysia continues to report no new COVID-19 related deaths for the 19th day in a row as daily new cases remain in the single digit.
Malaysia continues to record single-digit new COVID-19 cases, with only 5 new cases reported as of noon today, said the Health Ministry. This brings the total number of cases in the country to 8,648, with 81 active cases. Health Director General Dr. Noor Hisham Abdullah said there were no new deaths, which means the death toll remains at 121 cases for the 19th day in a row.
Pada 5 kes baru yang dilaporkan pada hari ini, 3 kes adalah kes import yang mendapat jangkitan di luar negara yang melibatkan kesemuanya warga negara Malaysia. Kedua-dua kes penularan di dalam negara pula adalah di kalangan warga negara Malaysia, iaitu 2 kes saringan prarujukan ke Hospital Queen Elizabeth, Kota Kinabalu, Sabah.
Dr. Noor Hisham added that 2 patients were in the intensive care unit and required ventilators, and 9 more cases have been discharged, putting the total number of recoveries at 8,446 or 97.7% out of the total number of cases.
Selangor UMNO chairperson Noor Omar has claimed that Pakatan Nasional representatives were not invited to attend the Selangor State Development Action Council meeting that was held on Wednesday.
Selangor UMNO chief Noor Omar has questioned an alleged exclusion of state Pakatan Nasional representatives from attending a Selangor Federal Development Action Council meeting recently chaired by Senior Minister Azmin Ali. Taking to Facebook, Noor said this was a departure from the body's role as a platform for elected representatives from federal ruling parties to take part in developments of states held by the federal opposition. Noor also questions the attendance of Harapan Menteri Besar Amiruddin Shari when Selangor PN State Assembly persons and MPs were not invited to attend the meeting. Azmin, who is the former Selangor Menteri Besar, shared a photograph taken during the meeting which showed Amiruddin in attendance, declaring the cooperation was to ensure effective implementation of the development agenda for the people. Given the Council's role as a platform for the federal government in opposition-held states, Noor said he was puzzled by the situation, questioning whether Amiruddin had switched sides to PN or Azmin still viewed himself as the Harapan Selangor MB. Noor, who is also a Tanjung Karang MP, hopes that representatives from PN will be involved in the development of Selangor in the future. PKR, with 17 seats, remains the largest Harapan component in Selangor following its recent sacking of Lembah-Jaya Assembly person Haniza Talha from the party. The figure is down from 21 seats it won in the 14 general elections. Selangor has a composition of 56 state seats, namely PKR with 17 seats, DAP 16 seats, Amanah 8, PN 5, Bersatu 5, Independent 4 and PAS with 1 seat.
Still to come after the break, hundreds of elephants are mysteriously dying in South Africa. All that and more after this. Welcome back. Australia and New Zealand have beaten Colombia and Japan to win the bid to host the 2023 Women's World Cup.
Football fans down under had plenty to celebrate early on Friday as Australia and New Zealand were named joint hosts for the 2023 Women's World Cup. The 2023 tournament will have 32 teams instead of the usual 24 and will be the first Women's World Cup held in the Southern Hemisphere. Australian player Steph Catley was one of those shocked and elated by the news.
Being able to, scream and shout and hug them at the end for a winning bid, it was just the best feeling in the world.
In Thursday's announcement, FIFA President Gianni Infantino said, along with expanding the number of competing teams, the council would seek more ways to invest in growing women's football. The 2019 Women's World Cup in France was hailed as a watershed moment for global interest in the game.
Women's football is crucial for FIFA. It is so important that we have decided, the FIFA Council has decided, to award $1 billion in the development of women's football in the coming.
The two countries beat out a competing bid from Colombia by a comfortable margin in Thursday's FIFA Council vote. Japan, which also made a bid to stage football's biggest tournament, dropped out on Monday after they ranked below Australia and New Zealand's joint bid. In a joint statement, Australian leader Scott Morrison and his New Zealand counterpart Jacinda Ardern promised the, quote, largest and best Women's World Cup ever staged.
Over 350 elephants have died from unknown causes in northern Botswana in what scientists are calling a, quote, conservation disaster.
Hundreds of elephants have been found dead in Botswana's Okavango Delta, but the cause of their death remains unknown. Still photographs show the dead elephants laying on their sides, others on their front, having collapsed face first to the ground. Poaching has been ruled out as the carcasses were found intact. Government figures put the elephant death toll at 275, but National Park Rescue said the number is more than 400. Co-founder Mark Hiley calling the death one of the biggest disasters to impact elephants this century. According to Hiley, the elephants began dying in huge numbers in early May, but the government was slow to react. With no tests completed, there has been no new information regarding the death. Authorities are investigating. Africa's overall elephant population is declining due to poaching, but Botswana, home to almost a third of the continent's elephants, has seen numbers grow to 130,000 from 80,000 in the late 1990s, owing to well-managed reserves.
And that's all we have time for this evening, ladies and gentlemen. For more stories, you can go to Twitter, YouTube and Facebook to follow us for the latest news updates. Remember to wear a mask and wash your hands. I'm Daniel Anthony. Stay safe, Malaysia. Thank you for watching and have a great weekend.